Hey guys, Look here and welcome to my first FIFA 21 video. That is right guys, we are starting off on our rating predictions for FIFA 21. I do know that it is only June at the moment and FIFA 21 probably won't be released until the usual time of late September, but it's kind of getting to a point now with FIFA 20 where there isn't really a lot of videos to make, and I'll be quite honest, myself, just like plenty of other content creators, aren't really enjoying the game this much at the moment. Like for Ultimate Team of the season, as far as I'm concerned, there's not really a lot to kind of make videos on. Of course, there's going to be any more SBCs, and obviously we have the rest of the world coming hopefully tomorrow on June 8th, I believe. There will still be like a few videos to maybe like the guaranteed ultimate pack and stuff like that for Ultimate Team season, but for the most part there isn't really going to be that much more FIFA 20 content to actually make. There will also be the footies as well in like the next month or whatever, but I'm just getting to a point now where I'm not really playing as much FIFA 20. I still want to keep doing YouTube, I still want to kind of keep doing videos in general on the channel, but in terms of FIFA 20 there's just not really a lot of stuff to do, so I thought let's just start off our kind of content and preparation in looking forward towards FIFA 21, and I want to do our rating predictions. I'm going to start off with Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga. Now the reason why I'm going to focus first of all on the Bundesliga as well as Ligue 1 is because obviously, as we know, in the five major European leagues, we know that Ligue 1 will not resume, so therefore, we know that PSG won the title. We can start to kind of plan what the ratings will be for those cards next year, and we can also start to do the same for the Bundesliga because it's very, very likely that Bayern will win the Bundesliga. I think they only have to win 2 more games and then they've won it. I think there's only like another 6 more games left for every team in the Bundesliga this season as well. So I thought that we'd start off with teams like these because it's getting to the point now, even for the Premier League and La Liga and the Serie A, you can even start to get rating predictions out for those because most of the positions, certainly like the fact that, Liverpool will probably win the title. We know that Lazio and Juventus will probably finish in the top 3 positions in Serie A. We know that it'll be Real Madrid and Barcelona in the top 2 positions in La Liga. So we can kind of start to get a pretty good indication on what ratings could be for FIFA 21, which is why we're going to focus on the Bundesliga. So we're going to focus on the main players within Bayern Munich. So go through goalkeepers, defenders, midfielders, and forwards. But let's get into the goalkeepers. Okay guys, so starting off with the first rating predictions for Bayern Munich, we're going to go through kind of position on the field. So we're going to start off with the goalkeeping positions, and there's only really 2 kind of goalkeepers that I think I would be interested in giving you predictions for in general. I mean, Bayern have 4 goalkeepers, but only 1 goalkeeper in Manuel Neuer has played all competitive games for Bayern Munich this season. Even Ulreich, the second goalkeeper, hasn't played a minute, not a single minute of competitive football for this season. That's why I've gone with a downgrade on his rating. Of course, he's a goalkeeper that's starting to get older, and he's been at the club for a few years now and just hasn't really played a lot of games. So I think based on that, typically EA, when a certain player hasn't hardly played any competitive football over the season, EA usually do seem to give them downgrades on ratings. Therefore, I think Ulreich will go from a 79 to a 70. Now, the case with Neuer, I think he deserves an upgrade. He's played literally all competitive games for Bayern Munich this season. A few stats: with the 30 games so far in the Bundesliga, he's kept 13 clean sheets, more than any other goalkeeper in the Bundesliga this season. Surprisingly, didn't get a team of the season card. I don't think he's his highest rated card is that 92 rated flashback. I was surprised that he wasn't included in team of the season. So he's got a 43% clean sheet. So the 13 in those 30 games, which is a good return. And I think based on that, the fact that it's very likely Bayern will win the league this season, and he's obviously helped a massive part with that by being able to keep the top clean sheets for any goalkeeper in the league. He's had just a much better season. He's been actually playing a lot more games than the previous 1 or 2 seasons where he has suffered from a few more injuries. So it's good to see him playing back, having a good season, and therefore I do think he does deserve an upgrade. So that's going to be the end of the goalkeepers. We're going to move on to the first set of defenders. We're going to be first of all looking at Nicolas Soulé, who hasn't really played that much football at all this season. I don't know if he suffered from injuries or anything like that, but he's only kept 2 clean sheets in 8 games in the Bundesliga. I mean, it's not the worst return, but it's not the best return at the same time for Bayern Munich. He's only played 12 competitive games in all competitions for Bayern this season, and because of that, I just don't think we'll see him get I think because of that, the fact that cards or players like Pavard and Hernandez and stuff like that, and Alaba have been getting a lot more game time. Soulé seems to be the 5th choice centre back right now at Bayern, and therefore I think we could see a rating decrease for him, which is a bit of a shame because he's only 24 years of age. But I think because of that, the fact that he's just gone down so much and in like first kind of choice centre backs. The fact there's probably about maybe 3 or 4 other players there at least before him. Therefore, I just can't see him retaining an 85 rating for him. And also for the fact that 2 clean sheets in 8 Bundesliga games for a team like Bayern Munich just isn't a great return, at least in my personal opinion. The guy next to him we have got is Benjamin Pavard, who's had a fantastic season at Bayern Munich. Only a 79 rated base card. He should be position changed though for the next FIFA. He should go to a right back because he has played the majority of games at right back this season. In 40 competitive games this season, he scored 4 goals and got 5 assists. That from a fullback or just a defender in general is very, very impressive. He's kept 13 clean sheets in 28 Bundesliga games this season, so very, very impressive. He does have a man of the match card as well available in FIFA 20 as a right back, but as I said before, he's played most games as a fullback this year, and Kimmich has gone into midfield, so therefore Pavard next year should be a right back. He would lack in pace, sadly, which is the only kind of problem with him, but apart from that, defensive wise, passing and stuff like that, he'd be a really, really good card still, and thoroughly would deserve a nice upgrade to his card. Continuing with the defenders, the first one's going to be Hernandez. Had a decent season. The problem with Hernandez is he did suffer an injury and he was out for like 2 months around Christmas time, which is really, really effective. And he played like the start of the season, got injured, and has started to play as like games have resumed following, of course, the coronavirus pandemic. And he's had like a decent season. He hasn't been like incredibly impressive like a Pavard or a David Alaba has been, but he's still done a relatively solid job. He's been certainly a lot more better and has probably seen more game time than what Nicolas Soule has had. He's had 7 clean sheets in 15 Bundesliga games. As I said before, obviously he was out for 2 months with that injury, which of course hasn't really helped his consistency or whatever throughout the season. Had a want-to-watch card as well at the start of FIFA that was going for like 100,000 coins at the start of FIFA. He never ended up getting any upgrades, which is a bit of a shame. Who knows? I reckon this card might get into like the footies for FIFA 20 or something like that. I can just see that, and they'll give him like a 90 rated card with like 90 pace or something like that. I think that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, on the whole, an okay first season from from him. I think obviously it'd be better next season if he gets like a full set of games in. I think he deserves to retain the 84 rating. We've also got David Alaba next to him. This will be another player that probably should deserve an upgrade and also should be position changed for next year. Of course, this year an 85 rated. I think he deserves to go back to the 86 rating. I think he was 86 rated back in FIFA 19. He's one of those players again that's kind of suffered from injuries over the course of this, over the course of his career. But this year he's been able to stay fit. He's played 25 games as a centre back this season. He's only played 7 games as left back. Therefore, he's got to be positioned as a centre back for next FIFA. That has to be the case. You can't keep him with a left back if he's played way more majority of games in a different position. So hopefully EA for the first time will actually change him from a left back to a centre back. I really hope that they do that. I think it'd actually be a really good centre back, really, really good, nice pace, nice passing and stuff like that. I reckon it'd be pretty, I reckon he'd be very, very expensive, but at the same time would be an amazing card. He's got 12 clean sheets as well in 25 Bundesliga games this season. Moving along into the final set of defenders, the first one we've got who actually should be for next FIFA a midfielder. We've got Kimmich. He has an 86 rated card this FIFA. He has played again, he's only played 11 games as a right back. He's played 28 games as a CDM. He's come in with 7 assists and 3 goals in all the Bundesliga games this season. Had a very, very good season. Of course, his team of the season card, who I was able to pack as well, I believe in my guaranteed pack, I believe it was for the Bundesliga. That was positioned as a CDM. I think the majority of his special cards this year have come as a CDM as well. Like he had like a 90 rated player moments as a CDM. Therefore, EA need to make this card a midfielder next year. It makes sense to have Pavard switch to a right back for next FIFA and Kimmich to the CDM position. And I think as a CDM, he'd actually be a quality card, that amazing passing, the solid defensive stats, the nice dribbling as well. I think he'd become a much more usable card in Ultimate Team. And then the final defender is Jerome Boateng. I think he'll continue to keep the 84 rating. Of course, he's another player that's kind of struggled with injuries and being able to stay fit over the past few seasons, but this year he's kept 9 clean sheets in 20 Bundesliga matches, which isn't too bad. I think some of his stats would slightly get decreased a little bit, like his pace I reckon will go down by 1 purely because of the fact that he is starting to get older. Therefore, he's not going to be able to retain the same kind of pace as a few years ago. So I think we will see a slight reduction in pace, but on the whole, I think he deserves to keep the 84 rating. But anyway, guys, let's now move on into the midfielders. Okay guys, so moving along into the midfielders, and the first two midfielders that we're going to start off with will be Thiago and Tolisso. We'll talk about Thiago first. Remember guys, this guy actually did have a team of the season for FIFA 20, but it wasn't in the Bundesliga team of the season. That card for Thiago's team of the season was given purely on a community vote, and actually when you look at how he played throughout the season, he had like a decent season, but he wasn't amazing actually when you look into his stats and stuff. But I think that he will retain the rating of 87. I don't really think, based on how he's done for the whole season, I don't personally think he deserves to go up to an 88 in my personal opinion. He got 3 goals in 24 Bundesliga games. He actually hasn't had any assist in the Bundesliga, in the German Cup, or in the Champions League, which from a box-to-box midfielder is actually quite a poor return. You would think that a centre midfielder, he has played in like a mixture of centre mid and CDM, mostly as a centre mid. It is rather shocking that he hasn't come in with any assists. I mean, yeah, 3 goals isn't too bad, but I think on the whole, of course, he's still done relatively well. He's come through with a few goal contributions, but I certainly don't think he deserves to be upgraded to the 88 card. So I've kept him as an 87, and the same for Tolisso as well. I think he'll retain the 83 rating. He's seen not a lot of game time. He's played only 13 Bundesliga games, a few other games as well in the Champions League and in the German Cup as well. But 13 games in the Bundesliga, 2 goals and 1 assist. So actually, he's come in with the exact same amounts of goal contributions as Thiago has, and has played actually a lot less football than him. But I've gone for a few increases on the stats, like his pace going up by 1, his passing as well. But for the most part, I think he'll just keep that 83 rating. Getting into the next part of the midfielders, that will be Javi Martinez, and I think this guy's going to get a downgrade, to be quite honest. And I mean, you look at his 84 card right now, and 69 passing and 48 pace and 64 dribbling doesn't look great, but I think like a lacking games again for him this season. Well, 20 games, not too bad I suppose, but he hasn't had any goals or any assists. Yes, he has played as a central defensive midfielder, but I think also the fact that he is getting on with his age now, I think he's 31 or 32 years of age, I can just see EA kind of downgrading him, and it's just going to kind of go into the mystery of FIFA and just eventually just completely like evaporate. But I can't see, with the amount of midfielders that there are in Bayern and stuff like that, the fact that although he does play as a CDM, he just hasn't come with any goal contributions, and I just think of the majority of the midfielders that do start for Bayern, he probably has performed the worst for them, and therefore I think we will see a decrease on his rating. However, I think Goretzka thoroughly deserves an upgrade. How he didn't get a team of the season based on how he's done throughout the whole season actually shocks me, because you look at his stats and he's done very, very well. He's played 33 games in all competitions this season. He's come in with 11 goals and 6 assists. That's a really, really good return from a box-to-box midfielder, especially having 11 goals in those 33 games. So 17 goal contributions in 33 games. That kind of almost equals out at 1 goal contribution every 2 games, which from a box-to-box midfielder is a great return. Therefore, he thoroughly deserves a 2 rating increase. It's very, very surprising how he didn't get into the community team of the season or into the Bundesliga team of the season. It is very, very surprising. But I mean, that 86 card would be great. He'd be almost into the Ruud Gullit club, almost, and that'd just be for his base card. But I remember a lot of people were very excited when his Player Moments SBC came out like a month ago or whatever, and I think certainly an increase on his cards for FIFA 21 would be much deserved. And then getting into the final midfielders, the first one will be Coutinho. Now, the interesting thing about Coutinho is I have put him in here because if you read articles and stuff like that he said over the past few months, he actually isn't, he's still a Barcelona player. And the thing about Barcelona is that they have said to Bayern Munich, if you want to, you can buy him for like 120 million in the summer, like this summer once this season ends. It's up to Bayern. I think Bayern have the final say. If they want to buy him, they can have them. If not, he will go back to Barcelona. So it's a very interesting one. So that's why, because he's also said that he's very happy at Bayern. He's enjoying his, he's enjoying his time. He's had like a decent season with them. And so that's why I've included him in the Bayern rating predictions. I mean, who knows what can go on in football? He could go back and join Barcelona, but by the looks of it, he looks more likely to get a full permanent move to Bayern Munich, which of course would be good for Bayern Munich fans. I think he will get the position change because he has played most of his games as a cam. He's played only 10 games as a left winger this season, 20 games as a cam, 9 goals and 8 assists in 32 games. A pretty decent return. Does it warrant enough to get an upgrade up to an 87? A few people would argue maybe it does. I think personally he should just remain at the 86 rating and just have like a few individual stats like his pace up a little bit more, his passing and stuff like that. But for the most part, I think he'll keep his rating. And the next one, guys, is a very exciting one. Alphonso Davies, who was positioned this year as a midfielder, as a 72 rated silver card. He does have a team of the season card. He's got another card, it's like a FUT birthday one or like a player moments card. I think it was a player moments card that he did have as well. But yeah, he has played only 4 games this season as a left midfielder. He's played 31 as a left back, so EA need to make sure that he is positioned as a left back for next FIFA. And then obviously, as we said before, David Alaba should go from a left back to a centre back. There's been quite a lot of position changes for Bayern for Bayern this year, so I'm hoping that EA take notice of that and take action as well. But 37 games, 3 goals and 8 assists. Very, very good return from a defender who has, obviously, as I said before, he's played a few games as a midfielder, but he's played the majority of them as a defender. That card, even just an 80 rated, would be unbelievably expensive at the start of FIFA. Like, he'd be, we're talking like probably 30,000 coins. Remember the Mendy card from Real Madrid, how expensive he was for a long time? I think Alphonso Davies would be the exact same. But anyway, guys, that is the end of the midfielders. Let's now move on into the forwards. Okay, guys, so now getting into the forwards for Bayern Munich. I know that a few people might see the cards like Gnabry, Muller, Perisic and Coman that are in the forwards. There's some people would argue that they're actually midfielders. Well, I kind of went onto the Bayern Munich website and they list players like Gnabry, Muller, Coman, Perisic as forwards. So I thought that for this video, I would class them as forwards rather than just having like Lewandowski as like the only forward. And yeah, I've just kind of referred to the Bayern Munich website. And they've just said that like Gnabry and players like that are classed as forwards for them. And we do start off with the veteran Thomas Muller. He's actually had a superb season. Weirdly, he comes out of packs as a cam this FIFA. He has to be put back as a centre forward like in previous FIFAs. And I actually do think he would deserve an upgrade as well. He's played 41 games this season, scoring 11 goals and getting 22 assists. He plays just right behind Lewandowski and he supplied him with so many good chances over the course of the season. That is on total 33 goal contributions in 41 games. That is a fantastic return. He definitely does deserve the upgrade there for him. The next one is going to be Gnabry. Again, another player who's had like a fantastic season. Had an amazing game. I think it was against Spurs in the Champions League group stage where he absolutely demolished them. Or it was some English team anyway. I think it was Spurs. He had like a fantastic game. 45 games for him this season. 27 goals and 13 assists. Absolutely superb. He does come out and practice this FIFA as a right midfielder. His team of the season card was positioned as a right winger, and if you do go into the transfer market website and look at the stats of where he's played for this season, he has played as a right winger. Therefore, his 86 rated card for next FIFA should be in that position. I could imagine him to be like a Leroy Sané type of card. I think he'd be really, really good. Very expensive at the start of FIFA, but what a card he would be. The next section, couple kind of dead players. These ones, of course, Ivan Perisic has always been like a fun card over the years, but I mean, you know, he's had like an okay season. He's played 27 games, 5 goals, 8 assists, a decent return for the most part. I think he'll continue to retain the 84 rating. I don't think he's done quite enough to get up to an 85 rated personally. There's not really too much to say on him. And again, the same with Coman. He needs to be position changed to a right winger. He's played the majority of games as a right winger this season. 29 games for him, 6 goals and 6 assists. So once again, just like Perisic, a decent return, but is it enough to really give him an upgrade up to an 85 rated? Probably not. I think it's more likely that Coman out of the two of them would get the upgrade purely because he's the younger player, and EA tend to give more upgrades to younger players than to someone like Perisic, who is starting to get older and into his 30s now. So I think Perisic is like a guarantee to stay at an 84 rated. I think Coman, you know, you could make an argument of whether he deserves to go up to an 85 rated, but I think on the whole, under the season as an 84, I think would be fine. And then the final forward will be Lewandowski, and this guy absolutely deserves to have EA put some respect on his name. They really, really need to do this. He's an 89 rated card this year. He needs to be a 91 next year. At minimum a 90, but honestly, he deserves to be a 91. He has played 48 games this season. He has scored 50 goals and 7 assists. I don't care what anyone says. He is the most lethal striker in Europe, although maybe you could class CR7 as a striker nowadays, so maybe he's been more lethal. But what a season he's had. Absolutely absolutely superb. 87 shooting, criminal. Absolutely criminal. He deserves to be 90 shooting minimum, maybe even 91 shooting. That 89 card is honestly just... There's just no respect in there whatsoever. He needs a 91 rated card with really, really good stats. You know, he's up there as one of the best players in Europe. He gets better as he gets older. Like, honestly, he's absolutely phenomenal. He thoroughly deserves a 91 rating card. But anyway, guys, that is going to finish this video. Quite a long video. I'm going to try maybe, if I do more of these, maybe keep them a little bit shorter. Because I have kept this video pretty long. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. And thank you very much for watching. And I'll see you guys later.